Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. If you've been watching these videos, you're going to realize everything's been turned around backwards. Done moved the toolbox over on the other side since I'm a left-handed person. Maybe help, the view of everything I'm doing a little better. And then too, I'm using a new camera phone, so ain't real familiar with it. Hopefully it's going to be a little better picture. So what we're going to be working on today is this AliExpress Stevie Ray Vaughan. Got some videos on this guitar. In fact, the video that I've got with the most views is about when I first bought this guitar. But it's an AliExpress SRV copy. I've upgraded the pickups with Iron Gear Texas Locos. Got the GFS Premium wiring kit, switch, jack. So what I'm working on now is the trim. So we're doing some upgrades to the trim on it. Going to do a bunch of upgrades. Clay dot inlays on the neck, new tuners. But right now we're going to work on this trim. So if that's something you're interested in, we'll hang around. We'll get to it. Okay, what I had with this first trim that came with the guitar was it being very, very thin. Just, very, very thin. And then the back side being very poorly finished. So I wanted to replace it with a thicker, better trim plate. And I think you can tell right there just how much better that is. I mean, this thing was it's very poor quality. This really thin and cheap. It'd probably just bend if you tried to use the trim. So I've never really used the bar. So what I've done is I bought another trim and I moved the saddles over onto this trim. Something I used with the other trim when I wasn't using the bar was this big block. And the problem with this is it's for like a Mexican Strat. And on a Mexican Strat, the hole for the trim bar is farther back than on an import type bridge, which is what this is. So what happens is when you put that block on, your hole is back here. And the only thing you can do is dremel that out, and that's not good. So anyway, I'm kind of at a loss. I'm not able to find a left-hand import big block, either brass or steel or whatever. So I'm kind of limited with using this small block on the trim, which I'm not real happy about. But I mean, to use the bar, I don't have any other options. So if you're watching this and you know where I can get a big block left-hand trim for an import bridge, I'd appreciate you leave that in the comments, because I'm at a loss. I've looked everywhere and I can't find one. So anyway, I'm back to having to use the little block, and it's pretty, it ain't the best, but anyway, that's what I got. So now what I've done on changing these saddles, if you have to change, if you're going to change a block, if you're going to change saddles maybe to a different color or different material or whatever, as long as they're the same, what I do is I measure, the back side between the trim piece, your tail piece, whatever, and the back of your saddle. Now, if it's a different style, you can measure from where your string is, where your string touches back here. Anyway, and record that down. And that'll save you a little time when you go to put these back. You won't be just starting, at ground zero. You kind of have idea of where you're at with your intonation. You may not be dead on it, but it'll at least be close and it'll save you some time. So let me get the body up here and we'll put this thing back in. Okay, there ain't much to this. Making sure everything's going to fit right, and I done see I'm going to have a little problem with the pick guard. Is a little bit too short with this trim to get my screws to line up. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to trim out a little bit of this pick guard material just slightly right here on this side to get the right clearance. So let me do that, and then maybe we can get this deal done. Okay, all I did is take out a few of the screws, about 5 of the screws, took my taper block that's handy for everything, just took a little X-Acto knife, just worked and trimmed out just enough of that. There wasn't much, just a little bit more clearance right there. So I didn't have to take the whole pick guard off or nothing, just used that. So that's got us going again. It's where that'll clear. Sometimes these things are just a little bit different. And on these guitars, I've had a lot of people ask me questions about these. Basically what you get when you buy one of these is you get the body, the neck, the pick guard, your stickers, that kind of stuff, your jack plate, you get that. Everything else is to be replaced. Pickups, wiring, tuners. I mean, the tuners I've got by with, but, I'm fixing to upgrade them because they're not great. So you're getting like a square affinity thickness body. If you put the premium pots in switch, you've got to do some routing to make clearance in there, not only for the switch but for the pots as well. Everything that comes on these things are really low quality for the most part. Now, the job they done on the body, is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. So, but like that trim piece, man, that thing don't even weigh nothing. That's just, it's just some kind of stamp. It's just stamped out, and I don't know what they done right there. It looks like I used a grinder or something, just a rough old grinder to cut that. So you're not going to have any kind of satisfaction out of that. So, yeah, when you buy one of these, you're not getting a fender. It may say fender on the headstock, but that's about as far as it goes. You're gonna have to upgrade everything. Now, I love this thing as far as the way it resonates. It's really loud. It plays really, really well. The frets are good, and believe it or not, it actually came with a bone nut. And that really surprised me, but it's actually a bone nut. So, you never know. You never know. And I don't know how many different companies over there, factories, make these, whether it's just one or whether there's several. So, I can't speak for all of these. I've got what I got with this one, but I can't say that if you get one, it's going to be as good as this or better than this or whatever. I don't know. All I can say is what I got with this one. The pickups that came in it were really low output. They didn't sound really bad, but they were very, very cheap. One of the ears where your screw goes through just snapped off one of them. The wiring is really poor. And I give like $210 for this one on sale, several years ago. But it's definitely not a Fender quality guitar at all. But that don't mean you can't make it good. And that's exactly what I've been doing little by little, is making it making it better. Because I really enjoy playing it. And like I say, it really, I mean, unplugged, this thing is loud. Now, I hate to lose that big block in the trem, but I can't find one for a left-hand trem that's the correct one. So get our screws in here down to about where we think we need them. Okay, now that don't seem to be working right for some reason. Maybe it is. It's just, yeah. Oh yeah, it's there. It's there. So that's great. Okay, we're gonna have to get our springs back on. Yeah, moving everything around now, everything's backwards, but I figured being, I was trying to put things off till I get my shop finished out there, but at the rate I'm going with that, no telling when that's going to be. So I thought I'd try to make this a little better till I can get done with it. There we go. And I don't know how available these guitars are now with everything going on in the world with the China-U.S. relations and the pandemic and everything else. I'm not sure how easy it is to get one of these if you wanted one. All right, now. All right. Always got to be one in the crowd. All right. Now, there we go. We got that in somewhere here. We've got a new whammy bar. We'll just stick it in there just to see if it's going to go. It should. Don't see no reason why it shouldn't. I didn't want to go far. Probably have to get broke in a little bit. But I'll have to back those springs off. I had them ran way down because that other trem was pretty much unusable. Oh yeah, we're gonna be whammying. And I never used this bar much when I first got it. I mean, the bar that came with it. I'm gonna try to use it. I like using it, but it's kind of awkward. But hey, but that turned out pretty good. I did age the plate just slightly, just to kind of give it just a little worn look, so it would kind of match with the rest of it. The saddles seem to be fine. Of course, they got Fender written on them. But it's a, pretty nice body. Like to have that big block in there. So that's about all I can do right now to the body. So I'll show you a little bit on the neck. let me rearrange this camera. Okay, the next part of what we're going to be doing is working on the neck. One thing this guitar has, you know, is you'll notice it doesn't have the truss rod access in the headstock. It does have a truss rod adjustment in the heel, and I'm trying to get it, maybe, I don't know if we're going to be able to see down in there or not, but there is a Allen head screw down in there, and it actually does work. So what we're going to do is I'm going to replace these inlays, and I'm going to replace them with clay dot inlays just because I can. You know, these look cheap. They almost look like a sticker. I've took one out to make sure it wasn't a sticker. So, you know, I'm going to go through and pull all these out, put the clay dots in, just simply because I've never put clay dot inlays in. All I've ever done is just replaced one that somebody had lost one out or something. Just put the plain old plastic inlays in. I've never done the clay dots, and I thought, heck, why not? But now this is a bone nut. Let's see if I can find something. Let's use this arm right here. I mean, you can, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but you can tell by the sound of it, by the texture of it, you can see the actual bone marks with a magnifying glass. It's actually cut pretty well. It could use a little shaping up on the edges, but it is actually a bone nut, so you never know what they're going to pull on these deals. Now, the frets are, you know, I have no problems with the frets. They're pretty good. But the tuners, see, they're not correct. They look like it from the back, but see, on the front, the string should load in the top, and they load in the sides, and they're just really, they've held up, but I can tell every time I tune it or change strings, you can feel it. It ain't there. So I've got a set of Fender, the right ones, a set of Fender tuners to go on it. So that's something we're going to be doing. So that's going to probably be in the next video coming up. We'll do these clay dots. I don't want to make these videos too long. So anyway, I hope if anybody's interested in these things, you can learn a little bit about it. Like I say, something to keep in mind, not just with a left-hand trem, but with any of them. Your Mexican and American, or Mexican and import, use a different, or maybe, what did I say? And now I forgot. The Mexican and American use a farther back hole for the trem than the import. The import's almost drill center of the block. And like I say, this is a left hand to fit a Mexican Strat. It don't fit the import. It'll screw on, but the hole won't line up. So that's something to remember. So anyway, if you hadn't subscribed, you think some of this stuff's interesting, I'd appreciate you hit the subscribe and the little bell. And to all you guys that are subscribed, man, I appreciate everybody out there. And till the next time, see you.